Hi, everybody. This is Dr. Salim Ucan. I'm the founder and CEO of Global Town School. This is one of our webinar series or presentation series in which we bring our experiences, knowledge, and practices to you, hoping that you would find it useful and helpful. We present some of our team members sometimes or bring outside guests to share, again, knowledge, insights, wisdom, and practices with you. Um, that could be on academic or could be on sports, personal, and academic development. It could be on various topics. And Global Town School is an online private school. It's entirely personalized, hyper flexible, and innovative online private school serving students in grades 6 through 12. I have a quick, short video that summarizes who Global Town School is and what we do and what's our vision with Global Town School. So let's play that video for a short minute, and then I'm going to introduce my guests today and then facilitator of this webinar.
Over the last 150 years, the world has seen major changes in the way we live. Phones, cars, computers, TVs, medicine change and upgrade nearly every year. So why haven't schools changed? Students are still in rows as passive learners. No personalization, no independent learning. Global Town is a school where education is totally reimagined to prepare students for today's innovation age. From factory-style schooling, where you are merely a number, to an entirely personalized education. Learn at your own pace with on-demand support. Conduct independent studies. Take college courses while in high school to pursue your academic interests. Don't be limited by what a traditional school system offers. From a space-bound learning to learning anywhere, anytime, in any form. Start and finish classes anytime. No need to wait for a quarter, semester, or school year to be over. Want to switch your school days to Wednesday to Sunday? No problem. Rather than designing your life around the school, design the school around your life. Get involved in sports, music, art, dance, acting, service. Start a business or travel around the globe. Instead of navigating your dreams around the school, navigate your school to pursue your dreams in life without sacrificing the quality of your education. Additionally, you get a success coach to support your academic and personal growth in a way that is second to none. Global Town School has the best, most comprehensive coaching in the country. Last but not least, your education is supported by the most recent technologies like VR and AI to give you the best education experience ever. Global Town School, exactly like no other school. Over the last
Yes, that's who we are. That's who Global Town School is, exactly like no other school. And our school is designed for student athletes, musicians, entrepreneurs, performers, students who pursue a passion, interest, and dream outside the school. And speaking of passions and dreams, so I have one of our team members, Coach Tate, with us, who is a phenomenal coach, a former NFL player. He's an athlete, and then Coach and I, we go back about 20 years. We worked together at another school before, and then now Coach is getting his doctoral degree at the University of Southern Carolina. So he's joining us as he finished his first year. Congratulations, Coach, finishing our first year of your doctoral degree. And he's here today to share what was it like for him to be a student athlete back in high school and then playing, collegiate level football. And then after that, joining NFL. So he's going to introduce himself a little bit more and share about his experiences in life. Facilitating this conversation is, again, one of our students, Bedri Parlar, who is a phenomenal student. Just finished, his high school and received coaching services from Global Town School last year. He has been accepted to multiple universities and received full ride from multiple universities, and he chose to attend the Ohio State University. where he and his family live. Um, he's a high school valedictorian, and then played football throughout high school too. So they have a lot in common with Coach Tate. That's why there was no better person than Bedri to facilitate this conversation. So I'm gonna have Bedri take over and lead us with the questions, and then Coach will share his experiences being a student athlete. All right, Bedri.
Great. All right. Thank you, Dr. Ucan. Like Dr. Ucan said, my name is Bedri Parlar. I'm currently a senior and I'm committed to The Ohio State University on a full ride to study neuroscience on a pre-med track. I played high school football all 4 years as an offensive and defensive lineman, as right guard and nose tackle, and then I stayed at right guard for my last 2 years. I started football in middle school just to make friends and be active, but the more I played it, the more I loved it. Even the conditioning, because I would go through all that with my brothers, and very, very rarely do you get to experience teamwork like that outside of football. It seriously is different feeling, stepping out under the lights and playing next to your brothers, representing your school. So I was very privileged to be able to play that sport. And I love the game. I love being out there in the trenches. And from what I've read about Coach Tate and what I've heard about you from Dr. Ucan, I'm really excited to hear about what you have to say as someone that has played the sport at a professional level, probably played it longer than I've been alive. So, and accomplished so much with your life. So can you please introduce yourself and briefly describe your professional sports career, teaching, coaching, etc. And what are you doing now, and how are you involved in Global Town School?
Thank you, Bedri, and thank you, Dr. Ucan. Again, hello, everyone. I'm Darian Tate. I am an activist, a humanitarian educator, athletic director who has partnered and worked with nonprofit organizations, public schools in the inner city. I've also been a founding administrator and teacher for 2 charter schools. So Chicago Math and Science Academy in Chicago and Horizon Science Academy Belmont, also in Chicago. After spending nearly a decade playing professional football and mentoring inner city youths, I know what truly drives student athletes, collegiate and professional athletes, particularly in a diverse background and also Black and Latinx communities who have fought through poverty, disparities, and adversity to reach the heights only one could dream of. I am also from Inglewood, Chicago. And through the hard work, I was able to earn an athletic scholarship to attend Northern Illinois University. My perseverance landed me an NFL contract with the Carolina Panthers, NFL. Also, Barcelona Dragons, Berlin Thunder, and Amsterdam Admirals in NFL Europe. I would like to say, my relentless attitude and work ethic helped me capture a conference championship in college. And I also was able to capture a world championship while playing for the legendary Mike Ditka for the Chicago Rush Arena Football League team. And that was in 2006. In 2016, I was honored as a Wall of Fame student athlete recipient at Walsh University in North Canton, Ohio. My tenure in the military was very short, but I served 2 terms and I did 2 deployments. And I do know the epitome of leadership, discipline, strength, integrity, perseverance, honor, and duty to country. I am a veteran, former United States Army Infantry Rifle Squad leader. I was a recipient of the following ribbons: Afghanistan Campaign Medals, Army Commendation Medals, NATO medals, and also the Covenant Combat Infantry Badge. In addition to my extensive college and professional experience, I am currently, as Dr. Ucan said, studying for my Doctor of Education program at the University of Southern California, and that's in Los Angeles. So I'm happy to be with you guys. And that was just a brief summation about me, and I look forward to talking more with you guys today.
Thanks, Coach. We're glad that you were able to do this webinar with us.
Yeah, that was very impressive. I'm sure your resume is very thick. So let's start from the very beginning. And what made you start playing football?
So, you know what? It's so weird. Everyone always asks me this question. I played multiple sports like daily. Like, when we were growing up, it's totally different from now, where you guys have much luxury, computers, internet, social media. I played multiple sandlot sports. So I was always outside playing football, basketball, and baseball. I didn't play organized football actually until I got to high school. I went to Curie High School, and I had a very talented and athletic older brother who was an awesome athlete. The coach asked him if he had any siblings that played sports. And at that time, his name was Coach Louis Savito. And he started actively recruiting me out of 8th grade, along with other coaches in Chicago public schools. I was 6'1", 200-pound kid in 8th grade. So can you imagine every substitute teacher that came to my school, if they were involved in coaching anywhere at different high schools, and they saw me, they was like, yes, I need this kid at my school. So I actively really started getting recruited in elementary school, and I had no clue. I just tell my mom, like, some coach want me to come to this high school. But in the long run, of course, I wanted to be next to my brother. But it also, not only was it a great opportunity for me to go to a high school of my liking, but it also was an opportunity for me to kind of like pull myself up and like get out of that poverty level of education. Like I was like in like Inglewood, like it's really tough neighborhood. Educational system is very rough, raw. We have really great teachers, but it's just the things that come along with that, the drugs, the gangs, the poverty level, so those things affect education. So me being able to get out of the neighborhood and go away to school, high school, was just a great achievement for me to just get me in the right mindset to achieve more and hit my long-term goals.
Hey, Coach, did your brother end up playing professional football as well?
No, he never played football, but he is in the IHSA history books. Like he, 25 touchdowns, 3,000 rushing yards. He was an awesome athlete.
Wow.
Yeah. Awesome athlete.
So it sounds like you superseded your brother's.
Yeah. Well,
legacy.
I'm gonna tell you this. My brother was a 4-star recruit. I was more like a 3-star recruit. My brother literally had coaches that I saw on TV come into our home. Coaches that we watched on Saturday was coming into my home every week to recruit my brother. So my brother was on a whole nother level than I was. But also, my brother helped catapult my career. So I'm very thankful, because when they were watching his game film in high school, they were also watching me. So that was a plus right there. They were recruiting him, but they're watching his film and they see me. So it was like they got a 2-for-1 with us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, wow. I mean, that's very inspirational. So segueing off of that, can you share your experiences as a high school athlete and how they shaped your career?
Okay, so as a high school student athlete, it really helped give me like structure and discipline. Before sports, I was getting into trouble. I was hanging around in the neighborhood. Of course, like I said, it's all about area codes, and whatever area codes you're in, that means you're in that gang in that area code. That's just the Chicago life. And, this was the best way, like for me truly to like get away from that, to start pushing that away, that kind of environment away from me, and started doing something actively that I liked that was positive. So I started to take sports very seriously, and I started studying more. Of course, when you get into sports, they tell you, hey, you have to be disciplined. You have to maintain this GPA. I started lifting weights more. I started burning the baby fat off. It also helped catapult me into the leader early in my high school career. Like my high school and basketball and football really helped me stay sharp academically all 4 years, because when you're a student athlete, you have expectations on you. And if you really have the long-term goals of being like someday a collegiate athlete, you have to, maintain a certain GPA and grade point average. Like your grades need to be solid. I know when I was coming out of school, we had to have really great ACT and SAT scores. Now, you don't have to have, Illinois, I know for sure, and some other states don't even require you to take, those type of tests. All you have to do is have a really great GPA. and you can go to a really great school, really great mid-major school. But it also, one other thing, it also helped me develop empathy, and it helped me become a better teammate. I was very close to my high school teammates, and we still talk to this day. So when I say empathy, it helps you to really develop those, not those superficial relationships where you see people and say hi, that associate level. It really helps you dive into people's lives. You really become family with your teammates. And Bedri, your teammates, you become family with them. Hey man, come over my house. Hey, they invite you over their house. And then sometimes you want to spend the weekends with your buddies when you play football. When you play sports, you want to be with your buddies 7 days a week, So when football is over at the end of the week, you're like, hey man, what y'all doing Saturday? So it creates that kind of bond,
For sure. I mean, like, especially what you said about the student athlete part and focusing on academics. A lot of my coaches, they always say, every Thursday you give us this little talk. They always emphasize the student comes before the athlete for a reason.
Yeah.
You got to focus on those academics. And then I really like what you said about the empathy part, because I initially played football just to be with my friends, and you spend so much time with them, going through so much, that they're just family at that point. Like I still talk to my friends from middle school who play football with me, but they go to different schools now. And yeah, it's definitely like a brotherhood. It's a family.
Yeah. It's a forever family.
Yeah. Okay. And then what were the biggest challenges you faced when transitioning from high school to college sports, including time management and balancing your academic life?
Okay, that's a really great question, Bedri. So balancing time is so tough as a student athlete. I'm gonna tell you honestly, I wasn't as probably smart as you, Bedri, but I know academically I was not ready. I do have a high level of self-efficacy, but I just don't think I was ready. And it wasn't to say, that I wasn't, doing great or I wasn't successful in terms of grades in high school. I don't think I was just mentally mature enough to really be able to dissect the schedule and say, hey, I'm going to study at this amount of time per day. I'm going to study now. I'm going to study later on. I couldn't put my schedule together like that. And also just the focus level wasn't there. Also, the stress on your body from working out daily, it wears on you physically and mentally. So, and one thing also, there's never enough time. There's never enough time to really study when you're a collegiate student athlete, because the coaches have so much of your time tied up, so it's so hard to really commit to studying unless it's like late night through the hours, because throughout the morning and the day, afternoon and the evening, you're pretty much sewed up doing things. But currently, there are guidelines for NCAA that dedicates a certain amount of hours for sports programs weekly. And this is the advantage that student athletes have now. Back when I played ball, a coach could tell you, hey, we're going to have a walkthrough on Wednesday, at such and such time. And they could be potentially taken away from your study time. So now what NCAA has done is made sure that coaches, really maintain integrity as how it relates to the hours that they can spend with you. So this is a good thing. I wish that was happening when I was in school. Maybe I could have, stole a couple more hours to study on a regular basis, but I could never get enough hours to do homework. Like I found myself doing homework at like 2, 3, 4 in the morning, like every day.
Yeah, I mean that sounds rough, because I know some of my friends, they've committed to Cornell, Stanford. They talk about having like their own like private tutors that the school offers them, because they prioritize like the academics too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean it sucks that you didn't have that back when you were in college.
Yeah.
So
Bedri, are those friends of yours? Are they athletes? Are they going to be playing?
Yeah.
Okay.
My friend was scouted by Cornell to go play with them, but as a tackle, but he decided to go to Bucknell. I don't know why. Should have went to Cornell, in my opinion. But
It's really nice that the Cornell offers, that type of support to student
yeah,
athletes. That's awesome.
yeah, for sure. Like they do a lot. They do a lot of tutoring because they know that, they don't, like Coach Tate said, they don't have a lot of time outside of sports to be getting those things done. So, anyways, back to the topic. Um, you were talking about how you were being scouted in middle school because you're so big and all that. So, what was it like with the college recruitment process when you were in high school? What should high school athletes focus on to get noticed?
Well, the recruiting process is very astringent in terms, when I was in school, very astringent as it relates to grades. So GPA had to align with ACT scores, SAT scores. Now, like I said, some states don't even require an ACT or SAT. You can just have a great, some recommendation level letters, and also a really great GPA, and you're good to go, especially in the state of Illinois. But I'm gonna tell you this. I think it's an even, when it comes to recruiting and getting recruited, I think it's pretty even out there. When I say even, I'm saying that everyone of this generation, for me, I had to actually go out there, like coaches had to travel to see us. Like Big Ten coaches, SEC coaches, they had to travel to our games to come to Chicago. They had to come and see us physically in person. Like they watched us on film, but they wanted to come and see us in person, and they had that luxury to do that. Now it's different. Every student athlete has a phone camera or camera. They have internet, social media, and emails. And majority of the time, to be successful as a recruit right now, currently in 2024, when I start mentoring like recruits and their parents, and I start talking to them, I say, look, don't rely on coaches to call you. Use everything that you have access to, cameras, internet, social media. Use all those tools to market yourself. And you can email every single university across the US. So I think that's one of the most important things of the recruiting process, like in terms of on that collegiate level, like your senior year, to really like dot your T's, cross your T's and dot your I's. Like those are the things that you need to do on a regular basis. Grades are important. Like I said, the ACT is no longer like a big, make or break deal. Also, coaches are also very vital to the recruiting process. And when I say coaches, I'm talking about your position coach and your head coach at your high school. The college recruiters usually ask those coaches character questions about you. What type of person are you? What type of leader are you? When he's not on the football field, what are they doing? What are they like? So they ask very intrusive questions to really get a feel for you now. They want to know before they bring you to their school, are you going to be there for 4 years, first of all, because they don't want to waste, $100,000 on a student athlete that they're going to have to kick out or get kicked out, due to, academic failure, So they really want to find out all the information that they can from you before you come there. But I'm going to tell you, the recruiting process is marvelous. Once you get into it and you set up your visits, when I was in school, you got 5 visits. I think you can make 3 official visits and 2 off the record. And it was an amazing experience to travel to different schools and just get out there at their games and just walk on the field, go into the locker room, go through the tunnels. It's an amazing experience. And I see more and more colleges making the experience more enjoyable. So a couple of years ago, I went to Iowa with my nephew, and they actually gave him a locker, put his name tape on there, made him a jersey, and his whatever number he wanted, they put it on a jersey, gave him a helmet, and they let you take pictures now. So it's so cool.
Yeah.
They didn't do that when I was in school. They just walked you through the locker room and said, hey, have fun, But it's so cool what the colleges are doing now for student athletes. I think it's amazing. So the recruiting process, to me, I love it. You have to just enjoy it, for what it's worth. No matter what school you're getting recruited by, just enjoy it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, especially what you said with the technology aspect, because a lot of my friends to get recruited, they just sent their huddle highlights to
Mhm.
coaches on Twitter, all that, and it's I feel like it is easier for students to get recognized now, but there's also a little bit more competition now that anyone can send in their highlight reel. So it's important to stand out. And yeah, definitely the visits and stuff. It's because my friend went to Ohio State just on a visit, and they made him take pictures like a jersey. Like you said, it had his name on it, it had everything. It was like a professional photo shoot. Like, it took some nice pictures. Didn't end up going, but it was
It's
nice.
fun. It's a great experience.
Yeah. Okay. And what did a typical day look like for you as a college athlete? I know you said you were extremely busy, and how did you balance your academics and athletics?
Coach Tate, we cannot hear you. You're on mute.
A lot of the times, the recruiting process is amazing, but also once you get out that honeymoon stages and you go into your daily routine, once you go to your university, oh my goodness, it is a daunting day.
Yeah.
A lot of guys get washed out because of the daily routine. They just can't handle it. So a lot of guys you'll see get washed out, not even because of academics. It's because they can't take the rigmarole of the daily routine. So I'll give you just an example of what I did on a regular basis. So every single day, it was wake up 5 o'clock in the morning. And that's to get ready for a morning workout, resistance training, Olympic style lifts with our strength and conditioning coach. After I was done, I barely had time for a shower. Most of the times I would run out of there funky, throw on some sweats. I would throw on they provided us with sweatsuits, for that particular reason. Just throw on a sweatsuit, go to your classes. I would typically, usually student athletes take 2 to 3 classes a day, so 12 hours at minimum. So 12-hour minimum for student athletes. And if you were a lower performing academic student, they're going to suggest you only take 12 hours. For some of those higher, performing students, they're going to suggest 15 to 18 hours. That's just, if you're a kid like you, Bedri, they're going to say, hey, man, you can handle a load of 15 hours, So once I was done with my classes, we went straight to team meetings. Team meetings would typically last for an hour. Then we'll go to practice, full pads, 2 hours, full padded practice. Once we're done with practice, we will go to individual positional meetings. After we're done with that, we finally get a chance to chill, relax for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, take a shower, get something to eat. Then we will head over to study table. Study table, you have to get at least 2 hours per night or equivalent to 8 hours per week. In that study table, you would have tutors, you have different subject matter experts that come in there and help you, So that was great. But you see what I'm saying is this schedule is very daunting. And this is what we will repeat like at least 4 days a week. So you're repeating this, Monday through Thursday if you got a away game, because you're usually going to travel on Friday. If you're at home, you're going to do that Monday through Friday. So it's a tough schedule, So that daily routine can make or break you if you're not used to like monitoring and scheduling your time or being a routine person. It can really harm you because I saw it affect a lot of people like ability to get up in the mornings because their body just wasn't ready for it. They didn't have that structure maybe in high school. So once they got to that Division 1A level, they just couldn't handle that rough rigmarole schedule every day. So
what do you think high schoolers should do to prepare for that level of rigor and that daily structure, like you said?
I don't really think you can prepare. I think that you have to have really disciplined coaches that give you a schedule, like a set schedule regularly. You can't have a coach that have, different schedules week to week. As a coach, when I was coaching sports, I always made sure I kept the same schedule because I wanted my student athletes to be able to know what they were doing every day so they can schedule around, sports like studying and things like that. So you have to have a coach really that help you develop that skill, of scheduling like athletics and academics.
Yeah, for sure. So What specific skills or qualities do you believe high school athletes need to develop to succeed at the college level?
I'm gonna tell you one. I think having a positive mental attitude. I mean, everything will not be perfect. You have to stay tunnel vision. Like you have to keep tunnel vision on, and like just be focused on your personal goals as a player. For me, I became goal oriented. I set small goals that were attainable. And as I became advanced and I got better, I set goals that were tougher and longer to achieve. But I set those goals knowing that I had time to complete those. I knew, by achieving those smaller goals that I would eventually hit my bigger goals. So just having a positive mental attitude, because high school, everyone think they're the man. Oh man, I had 10 tackles. Oh, I pancaked this dude. It's a different level. Everyone is competitive on the NCAA level. Everyone have dreams of someday becoming a professional athlete, or they just want to be a really great college athlete. So whereas high school, you have maybe about 55 players on a team and you have maybe 15 to 20 dudes that are really talented. On the collegiate level, everyone is talented. So you're going against guys that are equally as talented as you. So as far as skill development, like mentally, you just have to stay mentally strong, So that's the only thing about that.
Yeah, for sure. That's the thing that a lot of people tend to forget or put aside. Like you said, they all think they're that guy in high school, and then it's like a culture shock when there's like five other guys just like them competing for the same spot. So yeah, for sure. And then going back, you were talking about like your structure in college, and how important is mental toughness in not only sports but also in like your daily life. What strategies helped you
What was
maintain
your question?
focus
I'm
and
sorry. What was your
resilience?
question again?
Oh, so how important is mental toughness in college sports, and what strategies helped you maintain focus and resilience?
So some of the strategies, I would say one of the particular strategies that I talk about with some of my athletes are visualization. Like I used to visualize, like before the games, before practices, I used to make sure like I sit there and set time to visualize. And one of the things I would do is I would react to or think about what my opponent would possibly do, and also what I would do in the game situations to help me become like a really great player or make really great plays. So that's one of the best strategies you can use right there is visualization.
Yeah, definitely. Um, okay, so how did your coaches influence your development and success at different stages of your career?
So for different stages, I would say one of the things that I did to help me on different stages of my career, and I think about it now, more than I ever did, is the physical abuse I took on my body. One of the things that I did in my career is really take care of my body. Like I always went out to visit my personal trainer on a regular basis because I wanted to make sure that my body was just able to withstand weekly what I was going through. So every week I would spend at least 10 hours in the training room to get the proper support for my body. That was one of the biggest things I could do in terms to be a great teammate because everyone was counting on you. When you're playing football and you're an athlete and you're good at your position, everyone is counting on you every single week. So when you're not healthy, you're not helping your team. And that's one of the biggest things, about, playing, college sport. Like everyone is looking to the next man to do their job. So one of my things I always did is I wanted to make sure that my body was 100% every week. And it's tough, playing collegiate football, up until I went to played professional sports in the NFL, I feel like my body was still hurting. You know, I feel like my body was still hurting from playing sports.
Coach, did that include diet as well? Like what you eat?
So I can say this, and I always tell people this. I playing high school and college, like I literally lived off a diet of ramen noodles, frosted flakes, and I wouldn't suggest that to any student athlete. But in this, when we start talking about disparities, you know, of course, I'm not from a rich family. Coming out of high school to go to college, you know, I was from a single parent mom, so she couldn't give me money every single week. I was only doing what I could do. So, you know, other big universities, they have really great training programs where you can have that good diet and nutrition weekly. My school was just okay when it comes to like really giving us training table. When I talk about training table is giving your student athletes the necessities they need, the bare minimum. So like feeding them every day. You know, my university fed us, our sports program fed us one time a day. So they would feed us for lunch and that was it. And we were on our own for breakfast and you know, dinner. So I tell a lot of people, like, I didn't have a lavish diet, but I made sure that I trained efficiently. Whenever I went into the gym, I trained with everything I had, 100%. So that would be the key to my success is to train efficiently as possible, get into the gym on your workouts, lock into your workouts. Because honestly, when you're a young kid, when you're a young adult, should I say, you don't have to worry about nutrition. You know, your metabolism is so great. If you work out efficiently, you're going to be good. So I don't tell student athletes in high school and collegiate, unless I see them visually being overweight, I won't tell student athletes to be on a certain diet program because you have a high metabolism. You can go in there and work out and burn 5 pounds in 2 days, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, those working out efficiently is so important. I know you mentioned the collegiate level, and obviously high school is not as intense, but a lot of kids, like freshmen especially, they won't go as hard in the weight room or on the practice field, and then when it's game day, you know, they start cramping. They're like, "Oh, coach, I think I tore something," and they're like hobbling off the field in the first quarter. And it's all about how you put in that work throughout the week to prepare for that day. You know, like you said, definitely,
Yes,
it's very
that is
important.
crucial. Yes, that is crucial. And I'm gonna tell you, it took me a long time to realize up until like my first 2 years of college, I didn't realize that happened much later on in my career. My junior and senior year, like I am great friends with my athletic trainer, my head athletic trainer. We are great friends to this day because he know what I went through on a regular basis. And he fought for me against coaches. He would always say, look, Tate is not practicing today. I'm sorry. You need him on Saturday or do you need him today? You know, and that was
Yeah.
always the running line for him to my coaches because you got to have a certain level of protection as well. You got to know when to say, hey, I just can't go. You know, you're injured or you're hurt. If you're hurt, you can practice. But when you're injured, you cannot practice.
Yeah, a lot of my coaches say the same thing too. They're like, "Don't be the hero," because you know, like my friend, he messed up his knee and he kept playing on it. He didn't tell the coaches about it, and then he messed it up so bad he was out for a season and a half, which was really bad when he could have just let it recover and only been out for a couple games. So it's important to have that, you know, long term in mind.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, and then moving on, life lessons and beyond sports. So, what are the most valuable life lessons you learned from playing sports at high levels, and how did you prepare for your life after sports during your athletic career?
We talk about this all I talk about this all the time with my friends, but some life lessons I learned. The most valuable life lesson that I learned is don't take myself serious. I'm only playing a sport that I love to do. You know, I remember I was a sore loser. I wasn't sore as in a sense I taunted people, but I was sore sore in a sense that when I lost, I took it so serious, and I always said like, hey, do I have the opportunity to watch film, get better, or am I going to soak in the loss? And, I said, hey, I have opportunity to continue playing this game. I love this game. I've played it respectfully. And that was one of my life lessons, for playing at that high level. In the NFL, one of the highest lessons that I learned, enjoy it while you can. Have fun while you can. Because as you're watching sports now, you can see it can be taken from you at any given play. So a lot of the guys, I remember I was playing with guys and they would say, oh, I can't wait till the season is over with. And I'm sitting there like, I love this. I can do this all year round. I love it. And I enjoyed playing football. It was so fun to me. Even when I got to the NFL level, I didn't look at it as a job. Most guys, I was professional at my job, very professional, but I didn't take it as a job. I just said, hey, this is something I love to do. This is what I love to do, and I'm getting paid to do it. As far as life lessons on a collegiate level, me and my friends always talk about it to this day. We say that, sports, football particularly has provided our families with numerous opportunities, provided us with numerous opportunities, and provided that wealth for our family, that umbrella of wealth for our family to be able to buy homes, to be able to buy cars, to put food on the table. All of my friends are doing so well. And I'm going to tell you, a lot of them did not play in the NFL. A lot of the guys said, hey, I'm done after college. They didn't, get recruited to play in the NFL, and they have really great jobs. But that was because, like we talked about earlier, they were a student first and an athlete second. And they made a career and said, hey, I need to make small term goals and I need to set these goals. So once football is over with, I can accomplish these goals and go on to the second part of my life. So everyone I know, all of my buddies are doing so good. They're so successful. And guess what? It's because they all had the opportunity to go to college on a full scholarship and play football, something that they love to do.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I love those points about gratitude, loving the journey. That's really important. And I can relate to what you said about, kids around you going like, oh man, I just want the season to be over. I just want practice to be over. But it was like my last game and we couldn't make it to playoffs, which sucked. And I was just sitting there. I was like, man, it's all over, because I wasn't gonna play in college. I was like, man, all those 4 years just gone. I'm never gonna experience this ever again. So yeah, it's really heartbreaking for real. And then
hey, you're giving me PTSD right now, man.
Yeah.
I totally get it. I cried my tears. Like, I cried so much my last high school football game and my last collegiate college game. I cried so much, man, because I was like, I'm never going to be able to do this again with my friends. I love them. I love this game. And there's so much uncertainty, after you play high school or college. You don't know. Most guys, only 2% of guys are getting, selected to go to the NFL. So it's not, that certain level of uncertainty you have, and you're like, am I going to ever play again? And then in high school, it's like, oh my God, like that camaraderie, like, there's so many football movies that describe this feeling. Like, Remember the Titans. It's like you're in it with each other all through camp. You got doubles together, you eat together, you go to lunch together, you got class together, you practice together. And then after the football season is over, you're crying because you're like, I can't be with these guys.
Yeah, exactly.
These guys anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Like, even today, I'll be like, I would do anything just to even run gassers with my friends. Like, I have coach yell at me, like making me do up downs and grass drills, and
yeah, it's fun, man. It's fun.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, last question: what is your top advice for high school athletes who aspire to play at higher levels, including aspects like leadership, teamwork, goal setting, and overcoming adversity?
I would say my top advice would be, to follow your dreams. Follow your dreams, even when people are telling you it's not possible. Because all of my life, people have told me, hey, you're not going to be able to do that. You're not going to get a scholarship. You're not good enough. And, I didn't really think about it then, but, all that stuff played in my mind as I was playing, collegiate football and playing on in the NFL. I just think about the times that my teachers didn't believe in me and said, you're not going to be good, because I was a trouble kid, in school, or, in the lower grades in 5th, 6th, 7th grade. Sometimes teachers say mean things to their students, and they don't know the long-term effects that it may have on them. So follow your dreams, no matter what anyone says to you. Sometimes it's your family members, your own family members will look and laugh at you. I'll tell you a story right now. My coach, Luis Savito, who was my football coach, one day I was helping him out in the morning, and I said, Coach, one day I'm going to go to the NFL, and you're going to come. I'm going to send you a ticket to come to my game. And no kidding, when I made it to the NFL, I made sure I called him up and I got him a ticket. He laughed at me that day. We still talk about this to this day. He laughed at me. He laughed at me in the hallway. It was one of those sarcastic laughs. Like, my coach loved me to death. He knew I was good. But when I said that, because it was such a big dream, and you guys, Bedri, you may hear kids and Dr. Ucan, you may hear kids saying, I'm going to go to the NBA one day. Now, it sounds easy when they're saying it, but you may be having a biased opinion in your head about that kid at that moment. Like, you seem like you're undisciplined. You seem like you're not on the right path, And if you stay true to your dream and say, hey, I can do this, no matter what anyone say or think about me, I think you'll be successful. So I think that's the best advice. Me, who would have ever thought a kid from Inglewood, Chicago, would ever go on to get out the neighborhood, out of Inglewood, go on to a performing arts high school, and then get recruited as a 3-star recruit to go on to play college football by some of the biggest colleges ever, and also go to the NFL. No one would have thought that. No one in my friend circle has done that. So think about me and probably all the people that I know that I went to elementary and high school with. There's no me. I was the only one. So I think if you follow your dream and you stay true to yourself, and you set your goals, sometimes you set goals and you say, whoa, that is so big. It scared me. That goal I just set, it scared me. That goal right there, I don't think I can do it. Sometimes we can talk ourselves out of a future goal before anyone else can, because we're looking at that goal like, I don't even think I can do it. But then you think to yourself, like, you know what? I can do this. I deserve this. I can do it. So that's my advice to young athletes.
That was really inspirational. I really appreciated you being on here, and thank you so much for coming on the webinar with Dr. Ucan, taking time out of your day. Really appreciate it, and you said some really good things. So thank you.
No problem, man. Anytime, Bedri. Thank you, Bedri, and thank you, Dr. Ucan.
Yeah, and again, Coach Tate. I mean, that last advice was so powerful, and I think it applies not only to student athletes, but it applies to everyone. Every individual who has a dream, whether that's in business or a career, or family or sports, music, anything. So that was powerful. That was powerful advice, and thank you. Appreciate it. One last question before I let you go, and which is, how would a global school like Global Town would have helped you if you had that option back then? Think about yourself. If you had the chance to attend an online school and have the flexibility, have the personalization that we provide, what do you think? How do you think that would have helped you?
Well, number one, I love what Global Town School is all about. And I think that if I would have had Global Town School, when I was a student athlete in high school, I think this would allow me to be academically ready. Like I said, my academic level didn't match my self-efficacy because I didn't feel like, once I got to college, I didn't think I was ready. But I feel like if I would have had Global Town School and I could have had that one-on-one mentorship by our coaches at Global Town School, like I would have been ready. Also, it would have gave me the ability to have a structured educational program that I can do on a daily basis. At the same time, while I'm still getting better at whatever craft that I love to do every day, whether it's, being an artist, a pianist, or an athlete, having that flexibility and the option to attend online schools and also put in work for what I love to do in terms of what I'm trying to do and be successful in the future. I think this would have been awesome. This would have been magnificent for the development of me because it would have allowed me that individual program to really help me succeed. And also I would have had someone, a mentor to really help me set my goals, long-term and short-term goals, and also check the box once I attain them. So this would have been the perfect plan for me. Global Town School would have been perfect for me when I was in high school.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it. And some of the qualities that you spoke of that athletes should have to succeed through our coaching, we teach those qualities to our students: organization, self-discipline, study skills, and ability to plan and set up goals, short-term goals, and then not only accomplish these goals, but how do you respond when you don't accomplish them? That's also critical, right? So it's like I remember the saying, either it was in a book or a speaker, shared that it's not the impediments that stop us, but our psychological reaction to those impediments and barriers that they stop us from doing, the great things that we want to do. So you didn't have a school like Global Town when you were a student athlete, but now you have it and you joined us as a coach. And then now you help and coach other students and other student athletes at Global Town School. So I think at the end, it worked out well. And I really appreciate it. We are so glad to have you in our team and helping our students and helping Global Town School. Appreciate it very much, Coach Tate. It was great, that you were able to join us for this webinar. I appreciate it.
Guys. Thank you, Bedri, for your great questions. And thank you, Dr. Ucan, for having me and setting this up for us to get Global Town School on the map.
Sure. And Bedri, thanks for, again, a great facilitation.
Thank you for providing this space. All right.
Take care, everybody. Thank you for listening. Another episode and another presentation by Global Town School. You all have a great day. Thanks.
Thank you.